What's up, peeps? So today I'm going to be doing an underpainting tutorial. You may have heard about this. I feel like it gets rediscovered every like 4 to 5 years or so, and it's been like pretty big. I would say, I guess Mary Phillips, I don't know if she coined the term underpainting or if it's just like popular because it's a tech. Oh yeah, I don't want to talk about my ear. All right, I don't want to talk about it. just ignore. Anyway. I don't know if Mary Phillips is the one who coined it or whatever, but I feel like it's been made popular by her, at least as of recently. This is Mary Phillips. If you don't know who I'm talking about, gorgeous, talented, fantastic. This is kind of her technique for skin, for a very natural, beautiful, like model-esque skin, I guess. Bless you. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm starting off with the Milk Makeup whatever primer. This is like the mattifying something primer. I'll be honest with you. I keep trying to make this primer work for me, and I don't think it does. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, okay? So just disregard this. I can't recommend. However, I do love the MAC Studio Radiance Primer. Absolutely love it. I'm focusing it on the outer perimeter of my face because I want to make sure that I'm not getting cats on the cat scratcher. So rude. That I'm not getting like super oily in the center of my face, because that's a problem that I've had recently. And to mitigate that, I am applying it underneath my eyes, the MAC Radiance Primer, with a brush so that I'm not like accidentally taking it down too low, because, you know, brushes are just a little bit more precise. And I have fat, chubby fingers. So like, you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? They can get all up in my grill. This is the this is e.l.f. Contour, the luminous putty bronzer. Oh my god, I don't know what anything is called. It's the lightest shade that they recently launched. So this is what I'm gonna be using. I really wanted luminous skin, so obviously a luminous bronzer. What? I took my time with this, really building it up, like making sure that I'm intentional, because the thing about this is you're kind of like applying your contour, or slash bronzer, whichever, or like both, whatever, whichever one you are using, and kind of like placing that in areas to begin with. So you begin to shape the face before you ever place down your foundation, if you're unfamiliar with underpainting. So that's what we're doing right now. The thing is, if you use too little, then you're not necessarily going to be making as big an impact when you do go in with your foundation. So you want to make sure that you're applying enough, but you also want to make sure that it's blended, that it's not like super streaky. So that's kind of, I was trying to find like the balance essentially of like how much do I apply before I go in with my foundation. Yeah, I've been loving, personally, this color is fantastic for this because it's somewhere between a bronzer and a contour for me. I really love this shade. Like it worked so beautifully for this. So yeah, I'm hitting all of the points that I typically do when I would contour, now just adding a little bit of a lift to the eyes. You know how I like to do. It's gonna look a little kind of crazy before we go in with the foundation, but you know, it's all a process. But like I said, being very intentional, very slow to build it up. And obviously going in and contouring my lips. I just love to contour each part of my face so that all the color, all of the definition is cohesive. Now, I was actually kind of nervous about this because you can see I have a lot of like tiny breakouts, little tiny red breakouts around my mouth right now, which is super annoying. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, spot concealing will be fine probably, but I'm used to covering those up a little bit at this point in my makeup, you know what I mean? So I was a little nervous about that, but it's totally fine. And I decided to kind of leave the nose contour like a little bit undone when before I applied my like concealer and stuff, which I'm using Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. This is in the shade Light Sand, because I just wanted to maintain that structure. So I knew exactly where I was placing it. So now I'm going in with my concealer and I'm doing some highlighting. So basically like the areas that, you know, kind of helping to define underneath my cheekbone, bringing certain areas forward. Where do I want the lights? We're going in with our contrasts first, so darks and lights to begin with, which is actually the opposite of typically in painting. You go in with your midtones first, but whatever. So we're doing kind of like the opposite of that. So I'm being super intentional with everything. laying in all my concealer, going in and color correcting underneath my eyes. Again, applying with a brush, keeping it relatively low because I have been having like a little bit of a problem with creasing lately, which has been just so much fun to navigate, but keeping it down a little bit lower really, really helps to mitigate that. So you might want to keep that in mind if you have that problem. And then also keeping my concealer really low. So again, just keep that in mind. But all of the placements are essentially the same. Like there's no real difference here. I'm just kind of like going in and highlighting those areas of my face before we even apply foundation. So dragging from the outer corner of the eye up towards the temple just helps to add like a little bit of a lift. It creates like a nice light openness to the eye, helps to define the cheekbone a bit. I'm just going in and making sure that certain things are like relatively blended before I go in with my foundation. This is the top of the LC Cosmetics Velvet Sponge, by the way. I think somebody asked in my last video, they were like, where did the bottom go? I rip it off because I never use it and the sponge is so big, but I love how pointy the sponge is because it just gets in there. Like I have relatively deep set inner corners that can be hard to navigate. So the sponge is just like, now I'm slowly blending around the nose. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not like getting rid of the definition completely again because I am going to be going in with my foundation. But I want to make sure that it's not just like a stripe. You know what I mean? Now this nose contour has always been tough for me. This is probably something that I'm going to like experiment with a little bit more as I liked the underpainting thing. I liked it a lot. The one thing that I kind of regret, to be completely honest with you, is the Makeup by Mario foundation. So I mixed 3W and 2N. 2N was the shade that I purchased and they sent me 3W. Mixing that's a perfect shade for me, like fantastic. This is a very luminous foundation. I'm just applying it with the Makeup by Mario brush that they sent with the PR, which is great for application and all of that. I'll be completely honest with you. I've done this technique again recently using different foundation. It looks better. This foundation is just too luminous for me. It does have the visible pearl in it. I think my base looked great. Like I was very happy with this finish, but this foundation just really amplifies the pores in the center of my face. So that's something to just keep in mind. I've been using this a bit. I thought I liked it. This is a close-up. Obviously looking like real dewy, you know, but those center pores, like around my cheeks, they really just are so visible when I use this foundation. I just waited for it because I mixed it up on that little like thing. So I waited for it to thicken up a little bit and I'm just going in with that to spot conceal because like whatever, I didn't feel like mixing a custom concealer, to be completely honest with you. And I felt like the color worked relatively well. And then I'm just going in certain areas and building up a little bit more if I feel like I need it. Now I'm going in with this Danessa Myricks blush, which is so freaking gorgeous. I love these blushes so much. Popping that on the tops of the cheekbones. Just before I go in with any powder or anything like that. So doing some little finishing touches. So essentially the underpainting is contour, highlighter. She also, I think, applies like a little bit of a luminizer or some kind of a cream highlight below the foundation. I completely forgot to do that. And to be completely honest with you, I use so many luminous products. I don't think it would have made a difference. But yeah, I was relatively happy. For my under eyes, I set with my e.l.f. Halo Glow Powder, which is also pretty luminous. And it's been really nice since I have, just getting older and navigating like my under eyes. I feel like it's a good setting powder that doesn't make my under eyes look like super dry and cakey. But I wouldn't use it in any other area of the face because it's just going to amplify that shine. So for the rest of the face, I think I ended up using House Labs. Oh no, Charlotte Tilbury. So this is actually a brightening powder. I got it mixed up. It's not her like typical powder, but it's very, very light. It's perfect for fair skin. So if you're fair skinned and none of the Charlotte Tilbury powders have worked for you, it's a beautiful formula and this color actually works. So I'm just going in and setting the rest of my face. I think this is a Say brush. I don't even know what brush this is, but basically like focusing it in the areas where I'm like a little too shiny, And then I think that's mostly where I focused it. I kind of just like lightly patted it around the whole face. And then I just included my lips because I threw on some NYX Nude Beige because I was like, I should be a little more done. Oh yeah, my brows happened at some point too, but like you know my brows. I can do an updated tutorial on that. So this is the finished look. Like I said, I was very happy with it. I obviously didn't like spot conceal that thoroughly, apparently. It's beautiful. It's a great technique for if you are trying your best to achieve naturally flawless looking skin. In my opinion, I mean, obviously you can tell I'm wearing makeup, but like the finish looks so skin-like. It looks beautiful. The thing that you see the most, I think, is the blush. So it's definitely worth giving a try if you are interested, if that's something that you're trying to do. I would just say maybe not use the makeup primer. I don't know. I'm still formulating opinions. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if this is a technique that you have tried. And I will see you in the next one.